Hi, I'm John Milewski, host of Dialogue, joining you from the set of Dialogue at the Woodrow Wilson International Center for Scholars. For this brief YouTube interview, I'm with Andrew Selee and Eric Olson from our Mexico Institute. We've been talking about a lot of things. I'll introduce you to some of them. Andrew, let's just begin with a general overview of the Mexico Institute.
Sure. We're part of the Wilson Center, part of the Latin American program, and work very closely on U.S.-Mexico issues and bringing an understanding of Mexico to Washington, to the United States.
And Eric, you work on the security initiative. Tell us about that specifically.
That's right. We've been looking at how the United States and Mexico are working together to confront organized crime, drug trafficking, a lot of the violence that we hear about on a daily basis in the newspapers. The U.S. and Mexico are working together to try to address those problems.
I want to give the people joining us via YouTube a little flavor of what we've been talking about. And we've spent a half an hour talking about a lot of misconceptions about the drug war in Mexico. I'll let each of you sort of highlight one thing that you think is really misunderstood about this problem. I'll begin with you, Andrew.
Well, I'd say the first one is that it's not our problem in the United States. This is about violence in Mexico, and it's not something we have to deal with. And our position on that has been that, you know, this is ultimately about drugs coming into the United States. Our consumption is a big part of this equation. It's probably about a $25 billion industry. We don't really know, but we assume about a $25 billion industry.
Hard to track illegal spending.
Hard to track, exactly. No one's really, declaring it on their taxes, but it's a huge industry driven by American consumption. It's also driven by structural weaknesses in Mexico, rule of law particularly, that has made it possible for organized crime to operate, but it wouldn't happen without the money and the weapons flowing from the United States southward.
Eric, what's a major misconception that you continually run into?
Well, I think people often think it's just hopeless. There's no point, that nothing's going to happen, that everybody's corrupt and incapable of doing anything in Mexico. That's not really the case. There are problems of violence, there are problems of corruption, there's no question about that. But there are a lot of really good, hardworking, decent, honest people in Mexico, especially at the federal level and some at the state level, that are trying to make a difference. The federal police is being professionalized and better trained. Of course, there's always room for improvement in that area, but there are things being done that are hopeful in a way. A lot needs to be done yet. The U.S. can do a lot to support Mexico. One of them would be to stop consuming drugs in this country, but it's not a hopeless situation. There are possibilities of really making some improvements and dealing with this problem.
Thanks, gentlemen. If you'd like to hear more from Andrew and Eric, great insights into how to build an infrastructure for rule of law, and as an example with this, addressing this drug problem, join us by coming to the Wilson Center website, www.wilsoncenter.org. And then if you look on the right-hand side at the top of the screen, you'll see a little tab for Dialogue. Click on that. You'll be able to see a complete 30-minute interview. Thanks.